Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. Sorry for the slight delay, I had a little bit of technical issues, but I am here and I am ready to go. I've got a very interesting tea today. It's actually kind of controversial, and I'll talk a little bit about that in just a couple moments. But tonight's blend I am seriously excited about because you guys, this is going to be it's going to be very interesting. It's going to cause a little bit of debate for those who know a bit about tea, and I want to hear everything that you guys have to say. So, Thomas, welcome. You're the first one here. So I'm going to go ahead and start the water. So right away, this is going to be cause a little bit of controversy. Sneha, welcome. It's going to cause a little bit of controversy because the basis of this tea is an agreement of what kind of tea it is. It's hard to define based on the way that it's been produced and developed, not ionized, oxidized. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. It's really hard to tell whether or not this is a green tea or a black tea, and this been the subject of debate. And that's actually, Thomas is here. He's going to share a little bit of. Oh, you're gonna join me in this in this one, in spirit, and well, on the job as well. So, without further ado, because the water's already going, I'm gonna go ahead and open up this package of Spring Darjeeling. There we go. Thanos, you like my shirt, huh? Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open this up. And, having a little bit of problems. Teresa, welcome. There we go. So, first impression, I'm going to go ahead and open this up and see what it smells like. Now, it's a very wholesome smell. It's neither indicative of black or green. It's kind of like a creamy earthy. And it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of an oolong. The way that So this is kind of the reason why it's starting controversy right off the bat. Generally, you steep a black tea for 212 degrees for 3 minutes. I was advised by Thomas to do this as an oolong, which is not a low temperature, but not as high as a black tea. So I set my temperature to about I don't know, there's no exact number, but it's between the black and the green settings. So I'm gonna guess around maybe 190 to 200 degrees. And I'm gonna set it for 5 minutes because it's at a lower temperature. I feel like it'll be safer to do it for the full steep time, but not exactly the full steep temperature. I don't want to oversteep it. I don't want to burn it, so I'm going to keep it as is. I have not tasted this tea blend before. What sparked my interest is the fact that there was so much controversy behind it. I had seen it, I had smelled it, and I was like, okay, so there's still to this day, there is a debate whether or not this is black or green tea in Adagio, and I'm going to be chiming in on this debate. But I also want to hear from you guys about what you all think. I think my water is done. Yep. I hope that it's done, because it did stop. Yep, it feels like it's done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, you know what? I forgot to set my tea up because I keep talking about the controversy. Okay, so first things first. I'm going to pour some of this in there. Oh, a little bit. There we go. Yep, looks good. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like in just a moment. But first, Let me pour out some of this water and start this steeping process. And there we go. So I'm going to set it for about 5 minutes. And in the meantime, we'll get all you fans acquainted with this tea, because it does look quite interesting. I'm going to need a bigger leaf. There we go. Okay. It's like looking up some extra resources. You might change your opinion on what kind of tea it is. Okay, so you see, even now. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background. We were all at Adagio on Team Green. We all thought this was a green tea. Now, when I told Thomas this afternoon that I was doing this one, he was like, "Yep, it's a legit black. I'm gonna give you the extra information. We're gonna debate." And so now he looked up some extra resources, and he looks like he's back on Team Green. I'll let him answer for himself. Thomas, let us know what you think so far. But first, let me show you guys what it looks like. Now, you guys should be pretty familiar what black tea looks like when it hasn't been steeped. So you guys tell me right off the bat, first impression, is this a black tea or a green tea? Take your time, look at it, check it out, look at it really close, and tell me, does that look like a black tea? Because to me, it does not look like a black tea. It looks straight up green. It does not look like it's been oxidized long enough. Oh, you're team oolong now. Okay, see, so I was saying before that I'm Shanna, welcome. I did admit earlier that I was okay on bending to an oolong, but it just does not look dark enough to be an oolong tea. Now, not all oolongs are dark, so I'm willing to be a little bit more flexible. But my thing is, it looks way too green to be an oolong. Not that it's light or dark, it's just very emerald. And that's where my first impression lies. However, visually it looks green. The way that it smells too creamy to be a green. You know, I mean, green tea usually has that umami kind of plant-like grassiness. Excuse me. Or even in Japanese, where it smells salty, like salt water. It still has that really rich green color to it, but the smell of it smells like seaweed. It smells like it came from the ocean. This doesn't smell like either one. It smells like a creamy, it smells milky in a way. And that always indicates a really good flavor. I love milk oolong and jade oolong. They're both very similar in its scent. So that's why I'm willing to bend a little bit to the oolong section. This just backs up my my feeling of it. But, and here's another thing, Thomas, I want to hear your opinion of it. There were some photos that's on the Adagio website, and they're super duper up close. Quack had just started going. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the tea. Alright, it'll just take one moment. So now, I want to hear a little bit, I want to hear your opinion on this. So on the Adagio website, there is a photo of the spring Darjeeling, and it's super duper up close. And I want to bring something up that is kind of sort of adding to the controversy a little bit. So first I'm going to switch this over. You see, off the side, Spring Darjeeling. But when you look at it, look at the edge, especially in this one. What do you guys see? There's white fuzz. Now, I propose white fuzz is usually indicative of a white tea. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I believe this is a white tea, because white tea usually just means that it's picked at an early age, and that explains the white fuzz, Spring Darjeeling. So you have a, it's more of an age thing. However, when you oxidize tea, no matter when you pick it, when you oxidize tea, depending on how much you oxidize it, you either have white tea, green tea, oolong tea, or black tea. Now, if this is Spring Darjeeling is in the photo, I would consider that more of a white tea. However, pulling the tea out of the bag the way that I did, it didn't quite have that fuzz. So I would imagine that maybe this tea has been oxidized a little bit more. Yes, exactly, because first flush leaves are they're still pretty young. They'll still have that white fuzz, and it's indicative of picking it in the spring. So of course it's going to be that first flush, but what I'm getting at is the picture here does not look like it was as oxidized as it should be. So given that, if the tea that I have here is oxidized enough to be either a green or an oolong, would it be possible to have... Well, you know what? I just answered my own question, because there is a white Darjeeling, isn't there? Like, there wouldn't be that kind of a controversy based on that, because, this one in particular, it has the white fuzz. So I'm thinking maybe this was taken before it was oxidized further, possibly. But yeah, I don't see it on there. Maybe I'll go back in and look for other leaves which may have that the white fuzz on it, and we can open up that debate again. But I think that it would be interesting to have a tea that has enough characteristics of all four categories that we just can't figure it out. But I don't know, that would be interesting. I might have to take a look into that later. But now the water has opened. Not the water. So the tea is done. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I would imagine it comes directly from the warehouses or something like that, where they'll probably have a photographer on hand who takes photographs of it before it gets shipped out. So that might just be a completely different batch. But yeah, that's what I'm talking. It's not very. Maybe it's just the leaf that I picked, but it's not very certain. So I'm going to show you guys real quick why it still feels like an oolong after a 5-minute steep. Maybe it was just maybe this was just because of the temperature, but it still hasn't opened up all the way. And that's usually indicative of an oolong, because a green tea and the black tea, depending of course on the steeper, can usually get it to open up right away. But it took a little finagling, and it opened, and the leaf had to open up a little bit more. So it might just be that, you know, the temperature of the water wasn't hot enough to open it up completely, but it did open up a lot. So, oh, there we go. Didn't want to spill it. So I'm kind of like, I'm on the green oolong team right now. I'm straddling that fence. Thomas, I don't know if you've changed your mind completely about it being black, but you sound like you're on the black oolong side of it. I'll let you elaborate, but while you do, I'm going to go ahead and pour some out, because you can't have a good analysis without analyzing the taste. So let's go ahead and pour it out. Now, this is going to... Wow, okay. This is an interesting development. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like, because this is not what I thought was going to happen. So as I was pouring it, it looked green. But now that it's accumulated, it looks brown and copper. Now, that's not to say that green tea always looks perfectly green in the water once you pour it out. But this is kind of dark for a green tea. It's even kind of dark for an oolong. I have seen dark oolongs before. I've seen lighter oolongs, but this one is kind of like a bronze orange kind of Mickerdoodles, welcome. This is like a bright orange kind of tone to it. I was not expecting that while it was pouring. Yeah, I mean, we can say that it's a green tea just based on how it looks before, but I don't know. This is kind of like this is like kind of brown. I don't know. I'm on the fence only because, like, I think I'm moving towards the dark oolong side of the fence. This is a confusing tea. I'm telling you, like, I don't know, man. It's really hard to categorize, even for people who know what to look for. You know, it really is. It's. I mean, okay. According to the farmers, according to the people who actually, I'm okay. I'm gonna drink it. But according to the farmers and according to the tea company that sells it, they swear it's a black tea. I'm not convinced. Thomas is not convinced. Artemis, especially, is not convinced. I think she's, like, firm in her opinion that this is a green tea. So, I'm going to take my first sip, and we'll see what information I can gather from that. Okay, so it smells creamy. Okay, okay. Everybody's so impatient. All right, here we go. It actually tastes a little bit on the black side. It does not taste like a green tea at all. And, like, you still get a little bit of the creaminess from the oolong side of it. It's really smooth. I'll give it that. It's really smooth. But I'm getting notes of, like, a honey kind of sweetness. A honey with a little bit of nut. It's a tea of confusion. That is true. Like, I'm kind of befuddled. I'm befuddled. I'm baffled. Because the tea doesn't necessarily indicate any the taste is not helping. The taste is not helping decide what kind of tea it is. I'm I'm Honey Nut Cheerio tea, exactly. No, I'm kind of like I'm flowing between the three now because it tastes more like a black tea to me, but not enough of it to categorize it as a black tea. I mean, black tea, green tea, oolong, it tastes delicious. It's just very, it's ambiguous. Like this is what I love. This opens up a lot of doors of discussion, because every little bit of evidence that we look at and we analyze, we try to pick it apart, and it just opens up more questions. Like this is crazy. I'm in the middle. Like, there's an internal debate going on in my head because I don't know where I stand anymore. At first glance, I was sure this was a green tea. This is green, no changing my mind. Fall vegetables, yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like it's not a typical green tea. Yeah, it's got that kind of it's got that kind of tone to it where you have like a nutty flat vegetable kind of flavor to it. And I mean, I wish that I could share this with all you guys and get your impressions as well. I still want to hear what you guys think, but this is like a really this is a really controversial tea. Like, honestly, the most controversial tea I've had on the stream, other than the broccoli tea. Green and black tea. Actually, green plus black equals oolong. It's, honestly, that's what it is. Although I do like the word grack as well, you know, because you drink it enough, you'll become a grackhead. That was terrible. I'm going to occupy my mouth with something more better. No, it's okay. I encourage the creativity. You know, I mean that's that's what I love. I love the engagement. So you just say what's on your mind. I don't mind. But, like, you know, from a scientific classification tea perspective, black plus green equals oolong. But, you know, from a creative perspective, definitely grack and bleen. If I become a grackhead, it would have taken an oolong time to get off it. This is true. This is true. I mean, I have been addicted to grack for a long time. That's awful. Nicole, welcome. I saw you pop on. Now this is like I feel like Alejandra, welcome. I feel like had I steeped it as a black tea, it would have probably brought out more of a black flavor. And that might have swayed me a little more. But it doesn't taste like a black tea, like a strong black tea. I've had a softer black tea flavor, and even still, like, this doesn't really constitute a soft black flavor. Like, I'm talking something along the lines of like maybe an English breakfast, which is kind of it's usually kind of softened a lot more than an Assam or a Ceylon. Ceylons are usually stronger, more crisp in flavor. This one's very smooth, so it's hard to classify as either one, and it smelled more like an oolong than it tasted. So it's kind of like flowing. I'm I, I'm having a lot of trouble. I'm having a lot of trouble analyzing this, and like I'm so glad that I'm not the only one who's having debate with this, because there is an entire store full of people that know what they're talking about. It has a strong but pleasant astringency too. Yes, absolutely. And there's very little aftertaste. At least not from what I can tell. Like, once it fizzles, it coats the tongue and it kind of stays there, but not in an aftertasty way. Strong muscatel flavor of Darjeeling tea. I'm not getting muscatel. Maybe I haven't steeped it long enough, or I haven't steeped it at a higher temperature. I'm using the what was it, the utility, and that is not as accurate on temperature. So maybe if I would have done it at a higher temperature, I'd be getting it. But I mean, I'm getting it because it's a soft, less creamy though. What was this? You came up with a cool idea. One of these times, we should all buy the same kind of tea and try it together. Absolutely. Like, I had an idea for that. Kind of like how like I wanted to do an interactive stream. I might have the opportunity to do that really soon. I'm working with two different tea companies right now to see if we can stream a group tasting. So I'll either do it with Tigerschwedner as like when we do the multiple the once a month things, or with Chilula where we do a class and possibly stream that. I would love to have a lot of people like just pick a tea, pick a day, and then we all order it together. The only problem would be to get people to actually spend the money. So I would love to do something like that. If you guys are interested, hit me up. Let me know, because I would to have an online shared experience would be it's definitely intriguing. I'm definitely interested. So let me see what we can put together. Do it as kind of a tea program. Maybe we'll do it once every couple months. So whoever is interested can buy the tea. We all brew it together. We all taste it together. About why green tea. What was it? Here's a good link about why the tea is so green. I would like to do that. I'm streaming from my phone, so I can't really go to it, but I'll check it out. As a matter of fact, send that to me on Facebook Messenger, and I'll check that out after the stream, and maybe that will help me classify the tea. Excuse me, the tea a little bit better. But yeah, it's like there is a lot of controversy about this, and I'm conflicted. Like usually, tea is pretty easy to define. This is not in the least. Mm. Now, as it cools off, I'm getting more of the honey sweetness to it. It's now approaching like a very warm room temperature, and I have to admit it's doing really good. What is this? So it says Darjeeling is the first flush is essentially a very lightly oxidized unroasted oolong. However, because the Indian tea industry is not familiar with the oolong tradition as such, since I had to expand it. Since partial oxidation method is new, the local tea industry, the tea is still referenced to as black following following convention. So they're holding on to a tradition rather than something that has been more expounded on already in a different region. It's just something that they're not used to. So maybe this could be classified as an oolong and they just don't admit it. Which, I mean, it's kind of messed up, but by the same token, I mean, it does shed a little bit of a little bit of light on it. I mean, I understand people can be stubborn, but this is, yeah, I can see that as being a stumbling block, because they might be doing it without knowing what they're accomplishing. It's possible. But I know that, when there is a solid definition of a way that, yeah, it's secret tea. Dun dun dun. No, I know that I lost my train of thought. What was it? I know that I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, so oh yeah, that's what it was. I know that since there is an existence, a process in existence, and all it takes, honestly, is to just read into it and go, "Oh, right, this is what we're doing." So this should be classified as this. But there's a certain amount of pride within people, and when you have it's all, what is it, all other types of tea combined in one. Yeah, absolutely. And that all depends on the process. I mean, different blends come with different flavors. I've now that I think about it, I've never really blended a whole lot of different teas together. Like, I've never blended like a black and a white tea together in the same cup. Mainly because I would be concerned with steep time and steep temperature. Usually, I mean, if that was not a problem, I would try all different kinds of teas. But I'm very conscious of that, especially doing the two extremes. You're probably better off doing black and oolong, or green and oolong, or black and a dark green. No worries. Have a good night, Microdoodles. I will talk to you later. But to go as far as doing a black with a white, that might be risking it a little bit. Not to say that it can't be done. I'm sure that if you were to get like a white tea with a very, very light black tea, that might work well together. Maybe, I don't know, do a silver needle with, well, honestly, with this spring Darjeeling, because as we saw in the photo, there is a type that's got the white fuzz. So if that is as close as we can get as a black tea being a white tea, you never know. I'd be brave enough to try it. Oh man, but this is really good. This is. I can see why you bought that pound bag, because this is the kind of tea that you will wake up to. You know, I mean, how's the caffeine on here? I would assume that it's going to be high or at least moderate. Let's see. The caffeine is going to be. I don't see it, big man. Oh, there it is. A high level of caffeine. Of caffeine. Princess Fiona, welcome. It's nice to have you here, Your Majesty. Yeah. So it says steep at 212 for 2 to 3 minutes. See now, right there, that's indicative, because you have the 212, which is a black tea temperature, but 2 to 3 minutes, which is green to oolong. So that's something there that is that's controversial already. Thomas, what's your take on that? Because I'm leaning more towards oolong. It's so good, and unfortunately, it's already out. Oh, that's right. Because it's only a spring. It's a spring harvest. So yeah, it's returning the spring of 2020. So I was lucky enough to grab my bag when I did. I believe there's still a few more in store, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I saw some when I was there, last week or the week before. So there, don't like rush to the store and then blame me if you don't see it. But as far as I know, it's still in store. But yeah, this tea it's causing a lot of confusion, and I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now. This is just like, wow. So you steeped it at 205, and it's a lot more astringent, but it's doable. So yeah, steeping it at 205, but how long did you steep it? There's a few remaining in the store, but you can't restock it. Okay, so yeah, hurry up. If you're in the Chicago area, run and get some. Because I'm going to post the link. Just realize that the link is going to be completely useless until next year. And by then, unless you're writing it down and putting it on your calendar, you're not going to be able to remember. But my judgment of this is a definite drink. You have to get this at some point in your life because it is very delicious. There we go. So, going back to the question, at 205, did you steep it for the... Oh, you did for 5 minutes. Okay, great. So, it was a slightly lower temperature at the full amount of time, which... I can see that pulling out more flavor, and that you're getting more astringent from it because of the higher temperature. So I would imagine doing it like I did, which was slightly less, probably around 200 at 5 minutes. You'll get a good balance. I mean, I'm sure that this would taste. The way that I did it could stand to be a bit stronger, but I'm satisfied with the way that this came out. I mean, it's amazing. I'm really loving it. I'm gonna pour a little bit more because I'm starting to run a little bit low. I'm so glad I got a bag of this while I did, because I'm also kind of mad that I waited so long to make it, because this is just like I feel like I was missing out not getting more, like not going through this bag and then going back to get another. Oh, excuse me. Now I will have another chance. If they have it at the Naperville store, because I'm going there tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see if they have it. I might just splurge a little bit on an extra bag because this is the kind of tea that I want to take with me. You know, it's only available for a limited time, limited season, but like it's the kind of tea that I can see myself drinking all year round. I just don't think it will last all year round because it's really good. And I want to remind you guys, I did not steep. I did not sweeten any of this at all. This is natural. That honey nut flavor is natural to the leaf itself. I didn't put any stevia. That's what I usually use to sweeten anything. But this time around, it does not need it at all. As long as you don't steep it wrong, you're good to go. Okay, I'm going to open up the floor to discussion right now. I want to hear what you guys think, just based on what I said, what you guys saw. All right, sure thing. I'll be around next week. See you later. And thanks for joining, because this was definitely an enlightening stream. I I could not have pulled this off without having a second opinion. So I appreciate you coming in. So I'm going to open up the floor to discussion. What do you guys think? Is it a black tea, green tea, or an oolong? Possibly a white tea. Definitely not an herbal. It's not an herbal. So that excludes that whole category. But yeah, I'm going to open up the floor to discussion. Tell me, what do you guys think? What side of the fence are you on? And tell me why. Because I would love to hear what you all have to say about what you all have to say about the. Okay, you say it's a green tea, Sneha. Why do you say it's a green tea? I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Because I'm still kind of on the fence. To God's honest truth, I'm on the fence about this. I don't know how to classify it. Given all of the information that I'm experiencing, I'm trying to figure out why okay, so you're saying the green tea is because of the color of the leaf. So that would be the obvious visual cue. But I propose this. I had one green leaf, and I had one that was kind of brownish green. So does that affect your opinion at all, or is it still straight up green tea? We can try it again. Well, I mean, you can try it for the first time, because I don't know if you had it. I'll be trying it again. I'll be definitely drinking it, because this is definitely something that it's a tea that I would love to share. I mean, this is sweet. It's wholesome. You have a good flavor here, and I mean, despite whatever conclusion we come to at the end, it's really delicious. And I wish I could send you guys a cup to join me, because this is like, it's really good. So you're on Team Green. It's you and Artemis planting the flag on the green. Thomas was Team Black, but after reading everything that he read, he's moving more towards oolong. Teresa, what do you think? You were here the longest as well. Alejandra, I want to hear your opinion, but I know that you weren't here from the beginning, So whatever you guys feel, tell me. I like any feedback you have on this tea will help, because this tea has been very controversial. So I also find it interesting, Sneha, that you call this a green tea, but being from India and hearing what Thomas said about the classification of tea, um, that should be an indication of like why Indians classify this as a black tea, despite the the emerald green. Rachel, welcome. The emerald green color of the leaf. So essentially, you're going against your aunt in this, who has the farm in Darjeeling. So yeah, I want to hear your how that makes you feel, because that opens up not just a debate about the tea, but a debate about culture as well. Um, for me, I'm still having some trouble. Uh, this is it's really difficult. Rachel, just for joining us, I'm gonna catch you up a little bit. I'm doing Spring Darjeeling, and there is a huge debate going on. Um, we're trying to figure out if this is a green tea, a black tea, or an oolong tea. All of the entire store is basically split down the middle as to whether or not it's a black tea, a green tea, or an oolong tea. And this is just like, wow, it's kind of nuts. This is the most controversial tea I've ever had on the stream, but it's also sparked the most discussion. Oh no, it's okay. Kiddo comes first. But yeah, like this, I would encourage you to go back and watch the entire stream, because this has been more of a tea to discuss. There's been a lot of back and forth going on, and so far we have one person who left, Thomas, who was team black slash oolong. We have me, who is green slash oolong, and Sneha, who is green. Absolutely, positively, put your foot down, green. So there is a lot of stuff going on right now, and I mean it's sparking a lot of discussion, a lot of debate, but it's also like keeping things lively. Like this, I haven't been challenged by a tea like this in a while. It's making me think a lot more, not just about the flavor, but about the culture, about the processing, the oxidation level on this. Oh yes, yes you did. I could have used another opinion on that. But yeah, this is like it's nuts. I don't know. It's really, this is a really hard tea to classify. And the problem is, like, in India, this is considered a black tea, but it's only considered a black tea because oolong is made in China. No, not China. Sorry, it's not Taiwan. Isn't it a white tea? You see that we were talking about that before. There is a bit of speculation that it might be a white tea, only because the photo that was that's on the site is yeah, oh absolutely. I mean, the photo that's on the site has white fuzz on it, which is usually indicative of a white tea. But the problem is that the reason it has that white fuzz is because it's picked so early in the season. This is first flush. This was picked in the spring, hence the name Spring Darjeeling. So the white fuzz is going to be on there, but usually that disappears as you oxidize it more. So this has not been oxidized long enough to be considered a solid black tea, but it's looks like the actual leaf, you couldn't really see any white fuzz on it. I'm not able to prove that it's got the white fuzz on it in order to say, okay, this might be a white tea. But there is, according to the photo that's on here, there is a possibility that it could be considered a white tea. So this is why this has been this is why it's been throwing like a whole lot of discussion back and forth, and like there's a lot of debate even now in the store, where people just do not know how to classify it. And as I was saying before, like the only reason why it's not considered an oolong is because, quote unquote, India doesn't make oolongs. But technically anybody can make an oolong. It's just a matter of the process. They're doing the process, but just not calling it an oolong. So this would be a lot easier if they just dropped their pride and said, hey, we're making an oolong, case closed. Everybody's happy. But to take an oolong or to take a green tea and vehemently call it a black tea is what's causing a lot of controversy. Even if you were to have this green tea, if you were to settle it and say it's a green tea, but then you look at the photo and it's got the white fuzz on it, you can have another debate saying, hey, this is a white tea, not a green tea, not an oolong. This is like, it's throwing me for a loop. It's crazy. But, it sparks a lively discussion, and I love that it does, Okay. So, go ahead. I'm going to open the floor to discussion. Tell me what you guys think so far. We have one team green, one team white. Teresa, I haven't heard from you. Alejandra, you neither. Tell me, what do you guys think? I'm green/oolong. I still am not 100% convinced that it's a black tea, but it does have some characteristics of a black tea, so I might be persuaded if the argument is strong enough. But I have not yet heard a strong enough argument for it. So we'll see. In the meantime, go ahead and send me your opinions. In the meantime, I'm going to make some announcements because we have some exciting things going on, and you guys have got to know. First and foremost, I have opened up the raffle on the community page. So at your earliest convenience, go ahead and enter that raffle. We have so far 7 people that signed up, so you have a good chance of winning. The prize will be your choice of the iced tea sampler packs. We have berries. It was berries, classics, orchard, which is like the citrus teas, and I believe there's one more. Let me check it out. It'll just take a minute. Was it gifts? Okay, so I'm gonna run a quick search. No, what are you doing? Why is it only pulling up one? Oh, I picked up the wrong one, that's why. Alright, let's go with tea samplers. That should do it. That should help. Okay. There we go. So it's going to be berries. Where is it? Nut and spices. That was the one I was forgetting. Berries, nut and spices, classic or orchard. So, the raffle is going to be going on all weekend long. Feel free to get it before Monday, because that's when the raffle closes. I'll announce the winner then. So yeah, throw your hat in the ring. You might win. That would be great. It is free to enter, so you have nothing to lose. And right now the chances are good because there's only 8 people who 7 people who entered. So keep it coming. 2 other announcements. I'm going to open up renegotiations. Well, not a negotiation, but planning with Tea to stream from their store. I'm going to talk to them on Wednesday so hopefully we'll be able to schedule something for later on in July. I think it's going to be awesome. This is going to be our first collaboration. It was for the first attempt was delayed because unfortunately there was something that had happened, a family emergency. So we had to postpone it for a while. But now that has passed, we're going to open up the opportunity again to see where we can go. Also, as I mentioned before, last week actually, I am also in talks with Tilula about having a tea tasting class. They do have a pretty big teaching facility there. So we're talking about having just a straight up community tea tasting. So all you Chicago peoples, if you're interested, let me know, because this is something that I think would be an amazing experience for us all to get together and let's all get together and watch, listen, and if you're in Chicago, drink, participate. It's going to be an amazing experience, and I think that we'll have a blast. Another announcement that I kind of forgot to mention. Most likely in July we'll have another tea crawl. Hopefully we'll be able to get more people to join in. Last time it was a group of 5. It was a nice group, but I'd like to get more people involved. So I will keep you all posted on that. Yeah. I think that's it on announcements. I'm not sure, but it'll come to me. Whatever. So, questions, comments, anything you would like to add? Now's the time. Teresa, I know your favorite comment. What would I pair this with? It's got a very natural, classic tea flavor, with the notes of honey. So I would go with something light. Probably something like bread, pasta, fish, a light tasting protein. It's comparable enough to a breakfast tea that, this is good to drink in the morning. Plus the caffeine content is kind of high, so it'll wake you up. So bacon and eggs, why not? Pancakes, toast. I would definitely go along those lines. Scones, absolutely. Scones would go well with this. It's with a scone you would have like a sweet but not overly sweet, to the point where it will overshadow the natural flavor of this. Since it has that honey nut flavor to it, scones would definitely go well with it. Even biscuits? Yeah, I don't see why not. That would be awesome. Whew. Oh, I still have one more sip left, but I am kind of stuffed. Oh man, I have to say, this was one of the most lively discussions I've ever had, and I really enjoy it because there was so much to say about this. Excuse me, about this tea that like I'm still I'm planting. Okay, I'm planting my flag. Finally, I'm gonna stick with oolong. It's a good compromise between the two, and it stands to reason that this would, I mean, I've always been a down the middle kind of guy. I'm open to compromise. So I will say this is more of an oolong than a black or a green. But when I stick my flag in the ground, it's kind of shaky. Like, I'm still open to arguments. I'm not going to be certain about it, but right now, as of this moment, it's an oolong to me. But if you guys get the chance to taste it, you'll be able to form your own opinion, and I welcome the discussion. Because there's so much to explore about this tea that it's just, I don't know. There's a lot going on. So a white hybrid. We see that's the problem with a white hybrid is that once you oxidize a white enough, like there's very little line. There's a very little line between white and green. So a white hybrid, you would actually physically have to throw other things into it. I can see that there is a possibility of it, but that's not where I'm sticking my flag. Rachel, you can stick your flag in the white, in the team white section. But yeah, there's so much to go on. Like there's a lot of conflicting evidence that I don't think there would ever be like a solid answer. The only thing that I think we would all agree on is that it's delicious. So I have one more sip left. Now's the time. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you want to talk about, now's the time, or forever hold your peace. Woo! That was a good one. So, if you're interested in getting this tea for yourself, unfortunately, the link that I can provide is going to be completely useless until next year. But in the meantime, put this on your list. It is an excellent blend. I highly recommend it. And I would love for each and every one of you guys who's watching tonight, everybody who's watching on YouTube later on, definitely check this tea out because it is absolutely delicious. In the meantime, I'm going to get going. So have a great night, and I will see you all on next week. Once again, jump on that raffle. See if you can win, because this weekend is the weekend. All right. Have a good night and good luck. Bye.